groovy.
Welcome back, Horror Hounds. If you have a taste for the supernatural and haunted houses, look no further than today's episode. But before I begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, take a second and hit that button below so you don't miss out. In today's episode, we're going to explore the 1982 film Superstition. Originally seated on the UK's Video Nasties list, 4 years later it was released fully uncut in the UK under the title The Witch. Because of its underground popularity in the UK, though, it was actually released on video cassette before being released into theaters 2 years later due to subsequent changes in the content. Talk about ass-backwards releasing. The United Kingdom had serious issues with horror films back in the 80s, folks. The film stars James Houghton as Reverend Thompson, who was a soap opera star and been in such TV shows as Knots Landing and The Young and the Restless. Albert Salmi, who plays Detective Sturgis in this film, was in the hit comedy Caddyshack. Stacy Keach Sr., played Reverend Mayer, has been in a ton of TV episodes in his day and some films. His son, though, Stacy Keach Jr., is better known for his role in the Mike Hammer TV shows and films. The special effects makeup for Superstition was done in part by Steve Laporte, who is most famous for creating the look of Beetlejuice, where he won an Academy Award in 1989 for Best Makeup. Steve has also done work on The Lost Boys and American Horror Story Apocalypse, as well as countless other films. Okay, Horror Hounds, here comes the fun part, the breakdown, where I condense this film down to, say, around 10 minutes, and I cover all the good parts. So hang on to your barf bags, it's gonna be a supernatural ride. The opening sequence starts off with a haunted house. I like where this is headed already, where a couple is sitting right outside in a car practicing their oral exams. The local caretaker pops her head out because she's a voyeurist and just likes to watch.
I'm scared. I mean, about the house.
She's having second thoughts.
Please. Not here.
Shouldn't this also say, no humping? There, that looks better.
Who's that?
Talk about a showstopper. They haul ass out of there, where we realize it was a practical joke. And we meet Artie, the second practical joker in the attic of the house. Artie heads downstairs. Artie has trouble with the door. Maybe try the knob? We then see a shadow behind Artie that's a bit too big to be him. Always watch your back when walking through a haunted house. Artie ponders about a knife he finds in the wall, when he really should be pondering an exit strategy. Artie randomly finds a microwave that appears to be working. Wait, what the hell? Artie's friend heads inside to see what happened. Probably not a good idea at this point. Are those marble walls? Very classy. Something's watching Artie's friend. He investigates a window. Nope, nothing out there but darkness. Then he finds the microwave. Pretty standard reaction to finding your friend's head in a microwave, if you ask me. What I didn't expect was this. The friend hauls ass this time, where he too struggles with a door. He tries escaping through a window. Where he doesn't quite make it. Next, we shift to a scene straight out of Revelation, and we see a guy doing his taxes. Turns out the guy is actually a clergyman, and he's visited by detectives. Yeah, these guys here. Detective Sturgis mentions the two guys that were killed, and we learned that the haunted house was actually owned by the church. How appropriate.
One kid was gutted and slashed to death. The other microwaved.
Wait a minute, what?
Kind of an odd way to die, honestly. Detective Sturgis tells the clergy that something must be done about the property or the county will demolish the building.
Demolition.
The two clergy drive out to the house. Nice van. The creepy caretaker watches. The priest on the left explains that there were several houses built on this lot, all of which were haunted. Guess they should sell this property as commercial. And have a haunted Walmart, maybe. Okay, so the house did have electricity. Bruce Lee gives us a jump scare. And the detectives are hiding in the bushes. Kinda looks like they're taking a piss, honestly. Now we meet Bruce Lee's ghost from earlier, Arlen, the mentally handicapped son of the caretaker. Detective Hollister takes a leisurely stroll. This is why it's important to not have holes in your pockets. And gets a little too close to the water. The local police dredge the pond for the inspector's body. Arlen is being detained by the authorities for Hollister's incident.
I'm gonna have that thing drained.
Arlen doesn't like that idea. And he escapes. Back at the caretaker's house, Reverend Thompson discusses Arlen's erratic behavior and how it will impact the new Reverend Leahy and his family, who will stay in the house once it's all been cleaned up. The caretaker says Arlen was protecting a mysterious woman who overlooks the manor. The next day in the house, this happens.
Who are you?
Why, a creepy little girl. What else did you expect?
And do you live here?
Not really. Not anymore.
Oh yeah, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Reverend Mayer has a brilliant idea.
The time has come that we should bless the house. Try to cleanse it somewhat.
Guess Reverend Mayer won't be doing the cleansing after all. Why, hello there. Sometime later, Reverend Leahy and his family move in but are apprehensive of the house's sketchy track record. You know, with all the random killings and stuff. Reverend Thompson checks out the ladies. A maintenance man gets killed. Justin, Reverend Leahy's son, gets nosy and meets the creepy girl. The family finds the pond out back, where this happens. And we find out what grabbed her. They suspect the hand was of Reverend Hollister. The creepy caretaker watches on from the sidelines.
Why does she watch us? What is she waiting for?
Reverend Leahy gets shit-faced. Leahy's daughter, who was grabbed in the pond earlier, starts to dream about past murders in the house. Thompson and a detective question the caretaker, where she tells them the same shit from earlier. Some help she's been. The detective is tired of her shit.
And you are an ugly old bag.
Justin gets nosy again and finds his death waiting right around the corner. The creepy caretaker gives Thompson some advice.
As long as that was in the pond, she could only move about at night.
The inept detective looks for Justin, where he pokes around.
Something doesn't add up. This room should be bigger.
Looks plenty big to me. Thompson heads over to the church archives where he finds a copy of the Necronomicon. He reads the archive that dates back to the beginning of the property the house stands on, and learns about Reverend Pike, who reminds me a little bit of Frank Zappa, and Elvira Sharrock, who was found guilty for being a witch.
He is my Lord and salvation. He will protect me. He will bring you all to death.
Yep, definitely something witchy going on here for sure. Pike grabs the crucifix that Thompson had pulled out of the pond from earlier, and has Elvira carried off to be killed.
God, look at her face!
During the ritualistic witch killing, Elvira states that the ground shall be cursed from now on, and she will never die. But she does anyway, in a matter of speaking.
Amen.
Pike then tosses in the crucifix, like a Mentos being dropped into a Diet Coke. Back at the present time, the detective digs around the foundation of the house.
Come on, give us that.
And finds a hidden room underground. Back at the church archive, Thompson keeps on reading. Pike feels that he has doomed his people and grabs a bottle of wine to wallow in his pity. The wine is possessed. Pike is grabbed and pressed into a vintage red wine. The archive book then bursts into flames. Back at the basement, the detective and deputy start finding a way into the secret room. I mean, why didn't they just jump in from here? Would have saved them some time, honestly. They make their way into the room, where they see a body laying on a bed. My money says that's Justin. Nope, it's the maintenance man from earlier. I was wrong. They also find Arlen. The detective subdues Arlen. Arlen is then carted away. The detective finds some strange green substance back in Arlen's hidey hole.
Meteor ship.
And then gets grabbed by Demon Hands himself. The mother goes to the basement where there's a clear case of someone forgot to pay the electric bill. Mom finds Justin hanging out in the kitchen. The demon breaks through the kitchen door, grabs Mom and tosses her ass. Thompson arrives back just in time for the party and has trouble opening the front door. Thompson gets advice from the creepy caretaker, who's been no help so far.
You have the cross. If you are to survive, it is your only hope.
Okay, I stand corrected. Demon Hands drags Mom away. Thompson rescues one of the daughters upstairs. The power of Christ compels you. Reverend Leahy finds a body in the bed upstairs, where he dies by an exploding mirror. Yes, random, I know. The demon grabs the other daughter upstairs. She should have escaped with her sister, but chose not to. Stupid. Thompson finds her. Yep, too late. Thompson gets knocked backwards and blocks a demon hand attack, then jumps down the staircase and drops the crucifix. The demon is gone. He picks back up the crucifix and heads outside, where we find out the other daughter didn't actually escape. Thompson grabs 2 cans of gas he brought with him, throws them into the pond, literally, and lights it up. The creepy little girl shows up and tells Thompson he wasted his time because the witch wasn't actually in the pond. This pisses off Thompson. I'm sure the church won't be happy with this. Turns out, though, the girl was actually Elvira the witch. The little girl, Elvira, falls into the pond. Thompson reflects for a moment before he's pulled into the pond himself. The end. James Houghton had quit smoking 8 years prior to being cast as Reverend David Thompson. Director James W. Roberson insisted that the character smoke, but Houghton was hesitant because he didn't want to relapse. Roberson convinced him to do it, and Houghton picked up smoking again for the next 10 years. The things that actors do to their bodies amazes me. The pond scenes and archive sequences where Reverend Thompson was reading from the book were all filmed as an afterthought for this film in post-production. Originally, the film was going to be just about a family living in a haunted house and nothing more. But producers felt the new elements made the film more exciting. Honestly, I'm glad they chose to do this. Could you imagine this film without the witch elements altogether? It would have really sucked. I mentioned earlier this film was on the UK's Video Nasties list. Though never considered a film that could have been prosecuted for obscene nature, it was included in the Section 3 list alongside of such films as Scanners and John Carpenter's The Thing. Films under Section 3 were subject to seizure and not allowed to be stocked by retailers and stores. I really enjoyed this film, although not one of my personal favorites in the haunted house horror subgenre. Its story was still captivating and somewhat original. The acting was good, and the pacing wasn't bad at all. There were a few scenes involving Reverend Leahy that were a tad boring, so I left those out of the breakdown. Nothing of the likes that added to the actual plot. The lighting was decent. It could have been better in places, sure. Yes, it was campy as hell with an exploding microwaved head, but it was all done in an Italian giallo style, which happens to be one of my favorite horror subgenres. I'm giving this film 4 out of 5 skulls. It was fun to watch. The kills were memorable, and it had a well-made creepy atmosphere about it. It's in my collection, and if you're a horror fan, maybe it should be in yours as well. Stay tuned next week. I'll be doing a summer-themed horror film, so keep your eyes peeled for the poll over the community page of my channel to cast your vote. And as always, thanks for watching, Horror Hounds. Until next time.
He can't do anything right. He's a waste, Mom. A burnout. Shut your bitchy mouth!